Just yesterday I released a video about how World War III has already started, and some of you saw a scene from the video where I was dressed like a character from the 1963 dark comedy Dr. Strangelove. So that clip that I showed is actually from a video I did about 3 years ago about a programming concept called solid design, specifically the Liskov substitution principle. Now, back 3 years ago, all I did were programming and cybersecurity videos, and I would do skits interspersed with the video. And since a couple of you are wondering about it, I'm going to show you the skit, and if you really want to watch the coding example, the full video will be available after. Note that the movie Dr. Strangelove is probably my favorite movie. It is a dark, dark comedy about a deranged general who orders a nuclear attack and the efforts that stop the bombers. So let's watch the movie. Mr. President, a half hour ago, the commander of Burleson Air Force Base issued an order to the B-52s that were holding at their fail-safe points to attack their targets inside Russia. The planes are fully armed with an average load of 40 megatons each. The triangles are their primary targets. The squares are their secondary targets. The aircraft will begin penetrating Russian radar cover within 20 minutes. General, I find this very difficult to understand. I was under the assumption I'm the only person authorized to use nuclear weapons. Why haven't you recalled the aircraft? Well, Mr. President, in order to prevent the Ruskies from issuing false or misleading instructions, the recall code must be issued to the B-52s all at once. But unfortunately, since the bounding box is a square and the big board is a rectangle, we can't actually highlight all the planes. Do you mean to tell me you can't recall the aircraft? Yeah, it's about the size of it, Mr. President, but rest assured we are plowing through every possible line of code to find the square selection box. But since there are 26,000 lines of code, it's going to take us about 3 days to get through it all. When did you say the planes would reach Russian radar cover? About 18 minutes from now, sir. Dr. Strangelove, you're in charge of our software efforts. How could this happen?
Mr. President, it is actually quite possible if you do not follow the Liskov's substitution principle.
Liskov? What kind of commie name is that?
Herr General, Dr. Vava Liskov is an esteemed professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and a patriot of the highest caliber. But the whole point of the Liskov substitution principle is lost. If you don't follow it, why didn't you use solid design principles, eh?
Don't look at me, bro. I'm just a project manager. He coded it.
So if the Russians counterattack, are we still having our sprint planning meeting on Monday? There is a second part to this, and I'll show you that in a moment. The break here is where I would normally do the programming code and explain the Liskov substitution principle. If you look at the example, the big board trying to highlight all the bombers, but you can't because what you think is going to be a rectangle is actually a square. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. So if you have programming code and you think that two things behave the same because they have similar properties, but they don't actually behave the same, you can get into a lot of trouble. If you want the full technical explanation, it'll be available at the end of this video, but let's keep going. In the original video, I find the source of the problem and I fix it, and they're able to recall the bombers. Gentlemen, I'm not a sentimental man by nature, but I think we should just bow our heads and say a prayer for our deliverance. Lord, we have seen the angel of death fluttering over. One of the planes hasn't turned back. That's impossible.
Yeah. Posh Ryan, when you wrote the loop to iterate the array of planes, did you start the index with a 0 or a 1?
So we're not having our sprint planning meeting on Monday.
So that's the video. Hey, if you want to watch the full explanation, it'll be available after my t-shirt commercial. If you want to support the channel, go grab one of my Think Outside the Bomb t-shirts. Has an American F-16 dropping a, a JDAM ER. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Hey everyone! New Ryan McBeth t-shirts and hoodies from Bunker Branding are available. I'm gonna get the HIMARS shirt. What are you gonna get, Donald? The Patriot shirt, because I'm a patriot. It's the best shirt, the biggest shirt. Make 14 tangos great again. What are you gonna get, Barack? Let me be clear. I'm gonna get a Drone Sweet Drone shirt. What about you, George?
I'm gonna get a Trident missile shirt because they're weapons of mass destruction.
I'm gonna get a Landmine Marker shirt because my presidency always blew up in my face.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna get.
Ronald Reagan, but you're dead.
I came back to tell you that no matter our politics, we're all Americans. And we should buy Ryan's hoodies and t-shirts because they pay for the stock footage and licenses that allow him to make awesome content. So come on down to Bunker Branding and buy a Ryan McBeth t-shirt or I'll start the bombing in 5 minutes.